Yes, welcome Oscar again. Oscar, please. I just found out that the music at the end that we hear is not Colombian, but Puerto Rican from New York.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Richie Ray and Bobby Cruz.
There you go. Okay, I'm just going to ask a question or two to get us started, and then we'll come out to the questions that you will undoubtedly have here. And I'll just start from the beginning. If you can talk about writing this film, which actually isn't such an easy question, I think, because it's sort of so complex, and it seems to take in the characters and the actors, et cetera. But talk about just the process of writing this film, of creating the story.
Okay, first, thank you for staying. That's a good sign. Okay, in 2010, my real grandma got ill of cancer, and I had to spend with her some time before she died. So after that, I decided to make a film about life. I wanted to create something with that concept or that feeling. And then I had to come back to live in Cali. But at the time, I was living in Bogota, so I decided to create this relationship between two guys who live there. Maybe they have different backgrounds, but they have same passion. So then I decided to work with graffiti because I found this expression like a way to discover the city, you know, to dialogue. To dialogue, you say? Well, to make a dialogue with
to talk, to have a conversation.
Yeah, with the citizens, with the people, and then I was like writing my own ideas, like basing my own memories. But then there was another stage of the process. I started casting in different high schools of Cali. I did around 700 interviews with different teenagers and graffiti artists. So I think that was the moment when the film really became a film. And then I found these two guys, and then I changed all the story because of them. And because I like to work with non-professional actors, but not only because their faces, but also because their stories. So the whole process was to mix my memories with new things, you know, like, and to have this possibility to be in ambiguous line between something I could control and something I couldn't control.
And so their stories also helped you sort of finish the whole story.
Yeah,
in a way.
Yes, I was honestly I was not trying to create like a one story like in a classical way. I was more trying to portray different universes that coexist in parallel at the same time, and put them together and try to create some kind of contrast or similarities. Sorry, for my English is very Colombian.
Please, no.
And yeah, it was every time we were changing things, you know. Every time, even in the shooting, every moment.
Yeah, because it is there are many stories, but they lead different places, but it just has a beautiful feel to it, sort of almost a circular feel to everything that you're doing.
Yeah, I mean, it's my point of view of different realities or different things that I've seen or I found during the process. For me, it's more important the process before the shooting and even than the film, you know. Like I prefer to have a very long process of researching with the people and also with the graffiti artists. All of them are really graffiti artists. Like they have been working in this for a long time. So yeah, they also propose the mural, and so there was always a lot of space for them to participate or to deliver ideas.
All right, we'll get into that a little more, but first let's see if you have questions here. There.
Can you speak about the relationship between graffiti artists and
Could you talk a little about the relationship between the graffiti artists and the Colombian police?
Police in many countries, I guess including here, they're very corrupted sometimes. I'm sorry if there is a policeman here.
And if you're here, you're probably not corrupt, but.
But honestly, it's sort of like that, you know, there is a lot of corruption, and in Colombia, of course, it's the same. And you know, graffiti is an activity which is naturally subversive in some, you know, it's like they really go to find places where, you know, it's part of the nature of the graffiti, you know. So they don't go to ask permission, and then so it's like I think it's like everywhere, but in the film, yeah, they were, you know, painting in a place that they were not supposed to paint, and then they come, and there is also this attitude of the graffiti artists who they don't want to follow the law. It's also very natural from them, you know, to be rebels, you know, and but I didn't want to focus on that so much. I was more interested in I don't know, sharing with you what happened after, you know, and Los Hongos, you know, the title, it's the mushrooms, you know, because mushrooms are living beings that grow up in rotten context. So all of characters there are mushrooms, you know, it's the life that come from death, or, you know, so it's like the graffiti artists, they don't care about the problem. They just want to paint and keep going, keep resisting. I don't know. I don't know if I answer the question.
Well, also it seems to me, and I could be wrong though, that while yes, it comes from what the police in Colombia may be like, et cetera, but it's also just sort of in general the ideas of the graffiti artists being subversive, being political, et cetera, and then the authorities. So,
Yeah.
so in that way, it's also more of a general
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Yes.
Yes.
I have two comments. In Puerto Rico, we have a street at San Dulce where, and I'm very proud of how we come together as a racial unity. I mean, not always, but we try. And in this street, we point out several days a year where everybody comes together to paint on the walls. And it's a beautiful color after it's done, and it's also a beautiful expression of the community. And also I wanted to point, I don't know if this was an underlying theme in your movie, but for example, I saw that the two main characters were moved by struggle along the world. You know, they talk about Africa, they talk about Egypt, they're moved by struggles for freedom. And at the end, you know, the last sentence of the movie is the problem is always money. And I mean, I couldn't help but think corruption, money, Latin America, you know, we have suffered so much because of the interest of the big companies and so on, you know. And I wonder if that was on your subconscious, you know. The problem is always money. Because I believe it was Neruda who wrote this beautiful odyssey about, I'm sorry to talk so much, but I guess it's a part of the community. And then he writes this beautiful, very long poem about all that Latin America offers to the empire, with the good and bad side. But anyway, each country has a lot of natural resources to give. We do give too in the poem.
So do you want to comment? I hope, because you were speaking out, so I hope everybody sort of heard it. And the comment, well, the second comment first, I think, which is certainly about sort of, all of Latin America, the problem is always money. And so, is that something you were thinking of, all these things she's talking about? But also the first comment, I think, that you made too, was about in Puerto Rico and in this one area where people of different cultures or classes sort of come together. And I'm interested about that in your film too, because there does also seem to me that there is this idea of not just different cultures, but different classes. I mean, I think we can see it in the two boys too.
I think in the world of graffiti, like you can meet different people, for example, in some special context, for example, the public university. I was in the public university. You can meet people from different backgrounds, and you can share, different things, and sometimes even if you have differences, sometimes you have same pains, and it's the same. What you were talking about, like the Arab Spring or Free Africa, all that is like let's say the pain is universal. Like of course there are big difference between all those conflicts, but there is also like something in common. And for this generation, I'm trying to portray the internet, for example, is very important, and sometimes they get influenced by a video in YouTube, and sometimes they don't see, what is happening in the corner, but they are, like watching things in YouTube, and I got this idea because I was talking with so many teenagers, in high school. So for me, it was like faithful to our times, let's say. And about the money, the problem is always the money. I think it's
true.
I mean, artists. It doesn't matter if it's music or cinema or we always trying to, maybe we have so many ideas, but sometimes we don't have the resources to deliver our ideas. So it's like the tragedy of art in history. It seems very simple, but at the same time it's something very complex, and they want to express, but they don't have so many resources. And I don't know. It's the last scene of the movie. You must take it like something which is not. It's metaphorical. It's something that there is a moment in the film you should stop thinking or trying to understand, but feeling. Because people always want to understand things in movies, and I believe that it's also about to feeling.
All about feeling. Well, that's true. Yes. Mm-hmm.
For the kid.
Yeah.
Was with the kid that he was living with her.
But
So
the question is.
The question is sort of why is Calvin? Yes, is his name. Why is he living with his grandmother? Where is the mother or the rest
why
of
not?
the family? And why not?
No, I mean it's something that happened. Like this family was completely broken. Like the mother is. It's away. The father left home because he's, in his own universe, between music and politics, and and he lives with the grandma, and he's taking care of her. This is based in my life, but it's not completely the same as it happened in my life. But if I am honest, I wanted to portray like the broken family I experiment in my own life, and that's why it's this house is, she's dying, but she's full of plants and she's full of nature, and it's also something which is not it's not orthodox realism. You know, it's more close to a dream stage or something like that. And but something which is real is the kind of love they share. I was like this with my grandma, you know, like when she was. I remember one day we were watching a Tarkovsky film, and she was sleeping the whole film. We were watching Nostalgia by Tarkovsky, and she was sleeping. And when it finished, you know, the film, she was commenting the film, you know, just because she loved me, you know. So she was like, "Oh yeah, very interesting," you know. So it's a memory of my own life, you know, and I think. Sometimes people think that to be rebel is to break the roots, you know, and to insult the old people or the parents or the grandparents, and sometimes people think that, you know, like if you want to be rebel, you have to break the roots, and I think in this moment of the history, it's more rebel to go back to the roots, you know, because roots are forgotten now.
Well, I thought that the relationship between Calvin and his grandmother was just wonderful. It was just so sweet and loving and warm between the two of them. And if you might talk more though, because I noticed too, and you mentioned it too, that in the house, it's like it's being out of doors. There are so many plants and trees and greenery about, and maybe you can talk about that. You did talk about going back to roots, so I don't know if that makes sense there. Maybe it's in my own head, but also the wonderful scene where she takes the photo album and is talking about the past. It's just beautiful.
Well, this actually is my favorite scene of the film, because it's the moment, you know, they're making a trip, and it's the moment when they go back to the past, you know, and all those pictures are they are my ancestors in real life. You know, it's my grandfather, and I just brought these real elements to a fiction proposal. You know, it's and for me, what's important this scene, because it's just trying to share the knowledge she has, because she has lived a lot of years, and yeah, it's you know, actually in the classical story of the trip, you know, in Ulysses, Odysseus. He goes to the hell at some point, and he see his relatives, and it's a moment he understands the present when he goes back to the past, because if we are here, it's because there is something before. It's like we're not here by chance, you know. We're here because there is something before, and so I really respect the ancestors and all that. You know, maybe I don't know, but this is what I think.
We think it is worth it. Yeah. Yes.
Hi. My first question is, what films have inspired you to make this? And my second is, did the events at Arab Spring influence you as an artist or as a filmmaker?
So there's two parts. The first question is what films or filmmakers have influenced you, and also the Arab Spring question: did the Arab Spring influence you as a filmmaker?
I like a lot of films. I saw a lot of films to make this film. We did like a movie clock with the crew, and we saw a lot of. We did a list of films about youth, but I don't know. There are so many influences, but I always like Tarkovsky films. I'm a Tarkovskian guy. It's my religion. I don't know. I like also like new wave, you know, from France, or I don't know. I like Pishat Pon, Warasetakul. I like also I don't know many directors, you know, the Iranian Kiarostami, or also Latin American cinema, Carlos Regadas. I really admire him a lot, and I don't know, many films. I don't remember now exactly. And for the second question, Arab Spring, yeah, it was something important for me. When I was writing the script, it happened, and I was, you know, writing and then going to YouTube to see what was happening there, and I don't know. I like the way they went out the streets and they did something, you know, like so. I at some point I proposed them to, you know, I proposed the graffiti artists if for them was make sense to work with the Arab Spring, and they were completely agree, you know, they completely agree. Sorry, and yeah, that's why we decided to include this and to mix these two worlds, and because Latin American people we are also Arab, you know. Spain was colonized by Arab empire for 700 years, so we have Arab roots too. We are a mixture of indigenous people, black people, Arab people. You know, we share the pain. You know, same pain.
Yes, in the back.
Hi. Question. In the end of the movie, when the police take those two boys to somewhere totally strange, and I thought that's probably the end of the movie. The two boys ending up with some new place. They have no idea where it is, but it's pretty beautiful. And probably they're gonna start a new life and a new adventure of their life to start their artwork. And without any rules, like the police, like the political things, like their mom or family, broken family, so on and so forth. But suddenly you take them back to the real life. That makes me a little bit disappointed. So is that something?
So what do you think about this? This view's a little disappointed that you didn't leave them out there and to have them start sort of a new life and a new thing. What do you think
Well,
about that?
as I just said, there is a moment in the film that you have to stop trying to understand and more feeling. So this last sequence of the film is very open to whatever you want to say. I mean, you're just telling me a story about that sequence, which is not necessarily what I thought. But I always wanted to keep this last scene for everyone to decide. So for me, it's more that, you know, maybe this last scene is the reality, and the other part of the film is just a nightmare. You know, so it's for me. It was also important to put together this mural with this tree, you know, because maybe they are inside the graffiti. Maybe I don't know. Maybe they enter in the painter. Yeah. Maybe they are inside there. I don't know. It could be an option. It could have been an option, as you said, just to leave them in the tree. But yeah, sometimes you make decisions, and I'm sorry to disappoint you.
But maybe for you, they do stay in the tree, and that, you know, that it's just a fabulous tree. By the way,
I just want you to dream tonight with the tree. Please dream about it.
and now she will come up with a story, and then she will make a film that'll just bounce off of this. But speaking of the tree, and speaking of you know, the boys being brought out into this hinterland, it's like you start. I mean, the film in the beginning, it's all in the city. It's in the city. It's very urban. And things going on there, and then there is this whole idea of then they end up, even though they may be coming back, but they end up out in the countryside. Was there any broad scheme in your head about this?
Yeah, it's like I was saying. They are not escaping from reality. Maybe they are going back to reality. You know, it's a moment where I make let's say an homage to the respect of life, which is it's what really moved me to make the film, you know. So you can feel, you can be for a moment in all this place which is full of life, and the tree, of course. You know, a tree has a important meaning, but I, as I just said, I would like you tonight to dream about that and to keep thinking about that. I think this film could be this kind of film that you think at the other day, you know, and you can you can conclude many things, and it's open in that sense.
See, you all have an assignment tonight, which is to dream. All right, we'll take two questions if they're quick. One here and then there.
You mentioned that once you hired the two main actors, that you changed the story somewhat. Could you tell us more about that?
You mentioned that when you hired the two main actors, you changed the story. If you could talk about how the story evolves depending upon your cast and how you worked with them.
I was not, as I just said before, I didn't try to make a story. I was more trying to create a universe, you know, an atmosphere with different parts of the city or different mini universes, you know. So I was not, you know, I never write like with a very literal plot, you know. Maybe my idea at the beginning was to make a very strange strip, you know, like if it was like a spiral, you say? Spiral, una espiral. Yeah. But then I realized that the thing at the end is like a graffiti, you know. Is when you see a mural of you have different layers, you know, at the same time and different colors, and I think the structure of the film is like that. It's like a graffiti, you know. But to be more precise with your question, I don't know, when I found Ras, for example, the guy, he came with a skate, and I never thought the character he will be a skater. I was sometimes imagine he was a break dancer, for example, and when he brought the skate, I said, okay, perfect. So you okay, now it's a skater, you know, and then I got so many ideas to how to shoot or take advantage of a skate, or for example, I don't know, Calvin, he used to live in real life with a grandma, you know, so I was taking advantage of his own experiences with the grandma. And what I did was I put together the grandma and Calvin, and we spent time before the shooting with both of them. And for example, one day we went to the house where she's my aunt, the grandma, where my aunt lived when she was young, and there was like a hill. So she told the story that when she was I don't know, 15 years old, she sent I don't know how to say it. She took like a platan leaf, a banana leaf, and they.
Oh, it just kind of slid in.
Yeah, it's like this, and then Calvin realized that the grandma was a skater when she was young, you know, at his own way, you know. So it's just trying to know stories from them, and then to change and to improve the script.
Okay.
One more time.
Last question. Do those murals really exist?
Yeah, it's not.
Are they still there?
No 3D effect. Yeah, they.
Are they so?
Oh, you mean if they still
exist?
Ah, yeah. Well, actually, the underwater revolt.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it was made in a bridge, which is the entrance of the Agua Blanca district, which is like a big district in the east of Cali, and it's still there. But you know, graffiti is always like very ephemeral. I don't know how to say ephemeral.
Ephemeral.
Okay.
Yes.
And
You said it.
okay, so it's something that if it's someone erase it, it's normal, you know. But fortunately, it's still there because people can see that it's nice. But some other murals in the film, you know, when they are fighting, they are already gone.
Unfortunately, that's all we have time for. I want to thank you so much. We have a lot of filmmakers making films these days. We call them hybrids. We go, oh, they're part fiction, they're part nonfiction. And you've sort of taken it to a whole other level that is just so personal, but there are also other coming from things that are real, but also things that are dreamlike, and just a beautiful dream I think you gave us. So thank you so
Thank
much.
you very
Oscar.
much.
Thank you, everyone.